was going to be this. I think some people are probably more sensitive to nature energy than others. And Orochimaru could just be more sensitive. Now, that might not be the case in canon, but I'll just add that to my rewrite. Um,
Orochimaru Maru's just really still.
no, he's just naturally more sensitive.
Well, the thing
I
is, you
know you
don't
have
even
to.
have to be still because it's about connecting to nature, weirdly enough, because Naruto, and this is something, I think I wrote this in rewrites actually. Naruto is before he does the look left and look right thing. Yeah, right here. He's training because he can't connect to Fukusaku and he doesn't want to like leave a battle to just charge it up. So he has to learn how to charge it up while moving in battle. That's what he's practicing on doing. And he's actually like kind of succeeding. He's gathering the nature energy, but he's doing too much to where he's turning into a frog as he's running and moving. So it's like
That's so
before the
weird.
look left right thing. Yeah, exactly. Isn't that weird?
Because they state you have to be still, and Fukasaku saying it's not possible. Like, whereas Naruto never learns it. He's like,
Yeah, because
I
the
He's like
because
right
Jugo's
there.
clan, they don't need to stay still to collect nature energy. That's the whole difference.
Yeah, the staying still thing isn't about staying still, it's about connecting to nature, like hooking up your idiosyncrasies of your breathing to your
yeah, becoming
heartbeat
one
or
with
blah blah
nature.
whatever weird stuff they do. But I guess that's what
But as we
Naruto is
real
doing
quick,
with the earth.
this is my funny explanation for Orochimaru. So as we see in the Forest of Death, Orochimaru is one with nature. I mean, he's just merging with trees for no reason. That's how we got know.
Easy, yeah, literally. Freaking Zetsu should be purely that. Anyway, so obviously
Oh, that's a
Naruto.
rewrite right there. Can you write that down for future? Just that it just is nature energy. Like it's a nature energy existence.
Okay. But obviously, this is like a dropped training that Naruto never comes back to. Obviously, I don't expect him to in the pain arc, as his whole thing gets interrupted anyways. But again, Naruto never comes back to this training. Obviously, the pains of Mage and interrupted for West arc, but should Naruto have learned to master this as well? That being, ignore the shadow clones. He can absorb nature energy while running. Or
On
while
one
moving,
hand,
just
yes.
on
On
his
the other
own.
hand, it kind of takes away from the Karama teamwork aspect where Karama can do it for him if Naruto doesn't need it. It's the only downside.
The weird thing about that, Kurama doesn't do the training. Yet Kurama just has perfect Sage mode ability immediately.
That's the thing. So the question is, did he just have that, or did he learn it because of Naruto? Like,
Because it's not just that. There's actually like a third level of it. Because obviously Fukasaku, Pa, he obviously had pretty much like perfected Sage mode. Naruto, he had got good enough to where he could use it on his own. But then there was like the third step to where both of them had to sync up to where they were like, I guess, connecting with each other to merge or with nature or whatever at the exact same like rate and the exact same time, and that was more difficult than just doing it on your own. Naruto and Kurama would have to have done that, which is more difficult. Say whatever you want about Naruto. Kurama did something even more difficult than going into Sage mode, perfect Sage mode, without training. That's stupid.
and I mean, if you wanted to write it to where this just is Karama's ability, that's fine. But then, like, Four Tails Naruto should have just been like an angry
What's the
sage
intention here?
already.
Naruto was trading together nature energy and to and do sage mode while running slash moving before hearing the look left and right at the same time thing. Wasn't the look left and right at the same time thing? Wasn't that during his Ross and Shuriken training? So that would have been before it actually.
It's
Yeah,
two
but
different
he
instances.
calls back to it again because they say the same line, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I know," because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that was just uh Oodie forgetting.
Well, I
Naruto
think it's
never
you
came back.
misunderstanding after having forgotten.
No, because
Shadow,
he
you
the
can
whole
say.
thing is that he remembered Kakashi's like whole like you can look left and right at the same time. You just need to use a shadow clone,
So
and
out of
that's how he came up
curiosity,
with the
Angus, what do
shadow
you
clones.
think I'm saying and or forgetting?
I don't know what you're saying.
Well, there you go.
Okay, wait, let me read it again one more time. Okay. Naruto was training to gather nature energy and do Sage Road while running slash moving before hearing that the look left and right at the same time thing. See, okay, again, the problem here is like, no, it's the opposite. He heard looking left and right at the same time from Kakashi during Rasen Shuriken, which was,
Okay, so if you want to technically take this first part, you're technically correct. But obviously, I meant before hearing it the second time from Fukusaku, which is Pa.
oh,
In reference to the sage training.
Yeah. So I
right.
can see how you came to that conclusion based on how simply I wrote this. Because what you said is
You should have,
technically, literally correct, but yeah. So
yeah, you should have added more nuance. So Naruto never came back to this training. What do you mean? What do you mean?
So the running while entering Sage Mode training, because he was doing that. He was gathering the Sage Mode, and Pa was like smacking him with the stick because he was turning into a frog as he's running. But like he's doing it. He's gathering the
Yeah,
nature energy.
yeah, well, because he was turning into a frog. So obviously, like, if you do it, you can't. Obviously, it's like a technique you can't master. That's
Well,
like the
nobody
whole
says you
idea.
can't master. The only thing we get on that is Fukusaku saying this training has never been even attempted before.
Yeah, probably because you can't master it.
Well, that's definitely
Dude,
not why it's never been attempted. Otherwise, Fukusaku would never try it in the first place.
See, my problem with it
Yeah,
is this is like with the Oodie's comment, but more like writing behind it is Fukasaku's basically saying you need to be still to become one with nature energy.
yeah,
And subsequently, every other time this is done, that's what the like even Hashirama sailing fast, but he still stops, sits still for a second, or stands still.
yeah.
You get the point.
But that's what I mean.
But
That's
then,
what I
why would
mean by
Kishimoto draw Naruto getting somewhere? Like he should just draw it not working. Why would he have him
Yeah,
kind of doing it
it's kind of
if it
funny.
can't be done? Because he's
it
gathering the
is a
nature energy. That's why he's getting the frog features. So
I
yeah.
mean,
So
can't be a
there's
sword.
understandably, the narrative idea they're going for is Fukusaku, because the Nine Tails isn't going to let them merge. Fukusaku thinks they have no choice but to do this, and obviously Naruto needs to try it, but he's inevitably going to end up failing, and so they're going to have to default to some other thing. So that's like what Kishimoto's
yes,
writing process was when doing this. That's how we got
yeah.
to the situation in the first place, but obviously it leads to actual in-universe problems because of this.
Yeah, that's what I meant. That's what I meant by can't be mastered. Like the ability to do it is just incapable of manifesting in the world.
I mean, I think you can.
Yeah, what I'm saying is like Naruto could train as much as he wanted and he wouldn't get anywhere with it because although you can gather some nature energy while moving, you can never properly balance them or you can never
Well,
gather
why?
enough because it's
Because
just an impossibility.
it's the
It's
opposite
just
problem. It's also not an impossibility at all, I don't think. Considering, I mean, why can Naruto get better at doing it when being still, but not when he's moving? Because it's the same idea, is that he was just as bad at first at sitting still, and then he got better at it. He's just as bad when he
okay.
starts running. He never finishes that training. He could have got better at it, as far as we know.
Okay, okay, but then okay, but you could ask a more fundamental problem. Why do you need to stay? Why do you need to stay still to gather nature energy in the first place,
I think
right?
it just
Like
makes
it's
it
a
easier. It's similar to think it out like this. Imagine learning to ride a bike for the first time, and then once you master learning how to ride a bike, imagine then trying to ride a bike with no handlebars. That's like a whole other process. Now, instead
yeah,
of that, imagine trying to master riding a bike with no handlebars before trying to master how to ride a bike. So it's like you're doing both at the same time. You're just never using handlebars. That would be like the
yeah.
equivalent here, in a way.
It it probably is just the case that it was for balancing reasons, like from a out of universe perspective, but from an in universe perspective, like I think it's just, a, I think that it's just a locked away. It's just locked away ability. Like you can't do it. Like like that's why you need that's why Jiraiya needed the frogs on his shoulders is like you need it because again it's an ability that cannot manifest in the world.
Well, I know that Kamui used the word need earlier. Kamui, if you have the manga pulled up, you go check out exactly what they say. I'm pretty sure they're more or less alluding to it just being easier and or no one has ever tried it otherwise, because why would they, since this is just the most optimal route by far? But the whole point is to connect to nature, and staying still is obviously the best way to
I can pull it up
focus to
in a
connect
minute.
to
I'm
it.
doing something right now, but
Yeah.
before then,
Yeah.
I have a possible explanation. But even after I explain this, you're still gonna say, okay, but you could theoretically just become good enough to bypass it.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, so
why
that's
would it
why
be harder? It's
Kamui,
possible
Kamui,
that when you run
Kamui,
really
that's why
fast,
I gave my it's an impossible thing explanation because if it is an impossibility, then there's no like, oh, maybe you could just like train harder to do it. Like it's just an impossible task
well, what
to
I'm going to say, I'm going to
accomplish.
explain this in different ways, but I still think it would still be possible. But
Mhm.
if you're running really fast, it's just the nature energy is just all around you. It's possible that you're basically just running into the nature energy so quickly that you're just basically running around into so much nature energy instantly, so you just instantly gather way too much. But if you were skilled and just didn't run too fast, you should be able to just cut off the absorption really quickly, and you just like absorb it super fast.
Exactly.
You just have to time it. If
Well,
it's a
yeah,
split
well,
second
but that's the
timer,
thing,
you
is
can
that it
still
would be
do
the
it.
timing. Because if you're turning into a frog, that means you're absorbing too much nature energy. So, like you said, if it's
Stop
impossible,
sooner.
the reason is it's not possible to absorb less at this rate, but that shouldn't be the case because you can time it to where you can either run less fast, which, by the way, I also don't think is true because you have to absorb a lot of nature energy, which it's like magnetized into you like crazy. So I don't think running is going to run into enough nature energy to like offset that. But even ignoring that, you could just be going into sage mode for less time.
Exactly, it would be like more efficient.
Exactly, yeah. If it takes Naruto like 10 seconds to sit down to go into sage mode, well, if he can run and do it in 5 seconds, then there you go.
And like other, there's different limitations you could apply as like rewrite material to where you just absorb it way faster sitting still. So to the point that like if you attempted to run and do it, you would absorb it so slowly that you wouldn't even get it until like the battle's already over and you've lost, kind of thing. To where it just wouldn't work for pain because you need at the start, and if you get at the end, you've already died.
That's what I think they
You
should
could
have
do,
done.
yeah.
But they didn't. They did the opposite. He absorbed too much.
Yes, exactly. Or just make it so you literally can't absorb it, period. And he just doesn't get any frog features.
Yeah, my only problem with that, I don't like that one as much because I do like the connecting to nature element of it. Because sitting still doesn't do anything. It's not relevant or connected to sage mode. It just makes connecting to nature easier, which is what connects you to sage mode.
Which would make you absorb it faster in that case.
Exactly, yeah.
Not that they did, but that's what it should be.
Yeah. I'm glad we're on the same page.
That's what we
But
are
like,
right
if you
there.
think about this isn't just a hypothetical, oh, Naruto should have learned this. It would have been actively useful. The most obvious example is the code arc.
Yeah, and I think
Oh,
this is
yeah.
why again it probably was done for game
Well,
balancing.
actually,
And
Oodie,
I did the term game balancing here because like it really is like game balancing in this sort of context. Even though again it is manga, of course, but you know what I mean.
Mhm.
It really is like a balancing issue. Like if you just could move around well and collect stage energy or natural energy to you enter stage mode, that would be too broken and everyone would do it and it would just be easy
Well,
to
not
master and
everyone
whatnot.
can do sage mode in the first place.
Yeah, that's true. Well, again, anyways, I digress.
real quick. Whereas I'm not going to say there's no situation in which this wouldn't be useful. Like, there definitely are some that would be handy. But as far as the coda goes, That's just Ikimoto being bad because it doesn't affect that at all. Naruto just has to leave the shadow clones behind
I
as he
know,
runs.
it's so stupid. I know. It's like Naruto's taking as much time as possible on purpose. Like, bro.
Exactly. It's like Naruto knows he can do this. He did it in the next part.
And then he's hyping up his new Wisdom of Age stage mode.
He's being a dumb as
I see what you're
possible.
saying.
You know what
He
would
could've
really
let
show
those
Wisdom of Age?
clones-
If you can master it while running now.
Okay. Yeah, he could have done that. He could have let the shadow clones in the village while he was running to. No, because the whole point was like he needed to like because he could have been running the wrong direction.
Wait, what? No, he knows which
Well,
direction
Right,
it's in.
the idea I
Dakota?
believe that you guys are getting at is like he could have like left the shadow clones in the village to gather the sage energy or the sage bone while
Yeah.
while his real body left to go track down Code, but he could have ended up running in the wrong direction,
I
and then
mean,
he would have gathered the sage bone, and then it would have gone to him, and then he would have sensed, oh shit, I'm running the wrong direction. He would have had
no,
to
no,
go a
it
different
wasn't the Sage mode that sensed where Boruto is. I'm like 80-90% confident. I'm only down this because you're questioning it. That they were having, they were tracking Boruto.
way.
Because Kawaki
I
turned
think
his chakra signature off, and
that's the
Boruto said to
as
track him.
well. Naruto
So what is the
does
contention here?
but that's not my issue. My issue is even if we say they need Naruto to sense it. So, as shown in the war arc on Turtle Island, when Naruto goes into Sage mode in like 3 seconds and senses the war across the entire planet, all Naruto needs to do is close his eyes for 3 seconds, find Boruto's location, start running, and let the Shadow Clone do the actual Sage mode for the battle part. Naruto doesn't need this to last that long. He just needs to get a little sense of where he's going real quick. Like,
But that's assuming that it's not just Nishi telling Naruto where Boruto is through the Yamanaka system or whatever they were doing in that arc. Like, weren't they doing that?
I think Ino might have also sensed him, but
Yeah.
I know Naruto does do it with
It might
Sage
also
too.
be the case.
Okay.
It might also be the case that the writing just went to shit there, and
It
when Naruto
did.
Well,
said
that is
wisdom
the
of
case, but
yeah. And when Naruto said like wisdom of age, what he meant was actually I forgot how to use sage mode properly.
oh yeah, by the way, we never got to see that in action.
Oh, shout out Ace, who's also here, by the way. I didn't realize. Well, Ace, if you
Yeah.
would like to come up, feel free. Technically same Axel, but
So yeah.
Pokemon
I
has
don't know.
hundreds of bottles of toad oil. Let's be honest, bro. Ace!
Hey,
Well,
everybody.
Ace, what do you have to say for yourself?
Well, that definitely wasn't a. I mean, a man of few words. I really like your vibe, Ace.
Hey, what's happening, guys?
Hey,
I had
there
to switch
we go.
around my headphones for a moment because they went out.
Gotcha.
You have to
All
really
good,
think
all
of
good.
a good response because he just was so flustered.
Actually, it's my birthday. I just got back
Oh,
home.
happy birthday, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well,
Great
hold on.
conversation. Great
It-
topic.
2 a.m. today, your birthday? Or was
Yeah.
it yesterday, your birthday?
January 20th is my birthday.
Okay.
So, a
Happy
great topic
birthday.
on a great birthday.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good start so far. Got to finish up some laundry before I came home. Always great.
Some birthday laundry. Okay, I'll be done.
So, what is the birthday topic you have in mind here?
I was actually just listening in, and pains me to say this, but I have to agree that I think that there's no reason why Naruto couldn't have learned to gather Sage Mode chakra while he was running. It's just a skill he never decided to try to employ ever. It's far more difficult because you're moving, and if you're gathering energy through your feet, at that point, you basically have to alternate gathering energy right when you make impact with the ground or when you're moving around constantly and balance your chakra with that nature chakra. It's kind of like juggling and riding on a unicycle at the same time. It's not impossible, but the average person is never going to try to do that because why would you ever ride a unicycle and juggle at the same time?
So
You know
that's
what it reminds me of? It
what's that?
reminds me of Rasengan Uzuhiko, because in order to gather that energy, Boruto needs to stand still on the ground. So that's kind of an interesting parallel.
Yeah. So I'm not
To
actually
be fair, though, I
sure.
was just thinking about this. So I understand that there's going to be some unique hacks-related benefits of this instead of nature energy. They both, but also Sage has its own hacks differences too. But technically speaking, I understand narratively why they obviously wouldn't do this for the story. And I'm not saying this is better for the story. It's not. But technically speaking, compared to KCM 1, not full crop mode, just KCM 1, as people like to call it, the chakra mode. If Naruto just learned to run with Sage mode, that is such a way less risky power up. That's less safe because the main difference, honestly, the main benefit to the Kurama chakra mode over Sage mode is just it's not running out in 5 minutes, or you don't have to do the shadow clones or whatever. Like you just kind of have the battery advantage. Other than that, they perform pretty similarly. They both have their pros and cons, but they're pretty similar. But if Naruto can just run and gather nature energy, not only can he just keep gathering more and more nature energy and just make the force stronger in theory, it's just gonna last forever. Infinite nature energy.
I mean, it could be, but the problem with that is you would then have to have the control to constantly balance that with your own chakra so it doesn't overwhelm you. And the only people who've done something of that level of constant chakra control, always gathering energy, have been Sakura and Tsunade.
Actually, that's interesting because, yeah, with KCM1, your chakra's constantly passively depleting. I wonder if you would need your Sage mode to constantly passively deplete at the exact same rate. Otherwise, it's going to become unbalanced and you're going to get like the frog features, even without absorbing more. Just the passive amount that you would just
You have to like do
statically
less
have.
and less because your actual chakra's going down.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
interesting.
Which means you run a bigger risk, especially if you're getting tired or you're burning yourself out and get fatigued. It's the type of thing where if you slip up and you
But
start
then again, it's Naruto.
that's true.
When's that gonna happen?
Well, see, what I think is that Naruto could be arguably one of the only people that can do it because of the amount of chakra Uzumaki has to begin with. Naruto just always lacked the control, but he learned control with the Rasengan and adding chakra natures to the Rasengan. So it's not like it's beyond him. It's just a lot of thought that was
Oh,
never
yeah.
fulfilled.
But let's also remember though, Sage mode grants Naruto massively increased pain tolerance and healing. And it just rejuvenated. Like, he's exhausted, gets Sage mode back, and he's just rejuvenated, bro. Like, bro's just like gonna be high on life at this time.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
because here's the thing. Oodie brought up that like it was the second time Fukasaku mentioned looking at the left and at the right at the same time. The reason he did that is he brought that up that it's impossible to look at the left and the right at the same time is because he was using that as an example for why you can't run and enter stage mode at the same time. Like he literally says, it's like looking left and right at the same time. It's impossible, and that's why Naruto came up with the idea to use the shadow clones because it reminded him of that whole thing. So the reason that he brought that up, the reason why Oodie you asked that is because Fukasaku was telling us that it is an impossible task.
Oh, he's saying
It's
it's
an
like
impossible
an
task.
impossible task. He's not
Well, I
saying
mean,
it.
I know he was saying that it's counterintuitive to the whole point. I'll see if I can find it here.
Well, he's saying it's impossible in the same way that doing this other impossible thing is impossible.
But I don't think he's literally saying it's actually impossible. I think he's just saying like it's really hard. Like I can imagine Naruto saying on day 2 of training the Rasengan, "Ugh, this is impossible," and then obviously day 3 he masters it or whatever. Week 1,
Well,
whatever.
then
Real
he,
quick.
he could have found a better example then. Like, I don't know, like it'd be like trying to jump up a really tall cliff or something in a single bound
Yeah. Well, I mean, for him,
or something.
technically, it
Shit.
could be impossible. Just like for just about anybody other than Naruto, It's damn near impossible to use his version of entering Sage mode of gathering through shadow clones as a way to pop it out, because Naruto can pop shadow clones the way people blink their eyes, but for most people, it wears them out to pop out a shadow clone and nerfs them deeply. He just has such a stupid amount of chakra in his own that he can just spam shadow clones since he was a kid. So for him, it doesn't make any sense why he can't just pop them out to gather as much nature energy as he wants and use it whenever he's ready.
Okay. On something you said earlier, Ace, I'm not sure if you would need to physically connect your feet to the ground while running, or if you could do this in midair, considering they do say nature energy is both in the ground and the air, but obviously the connecting to nature part is important. I don't know if like being literally physically connected is part of the process. I mean, arguably they aren't, since they're wearing clothes and shoes and stuff.
Well, also, I mean, it technically it still connects to the ground, but like in 3 different ways. So Naruto's sitting on a board on a spike that's then connected to the ground when he's learning it.
But I do think the board and the spike technically have nature energy. But like we also see a visual of nature energy going into Naruto, and pretty much like all of it is coming in from the air, none from the ground.
Yeah, because it isn't because it's connected to the ground. It's because Fukusaku mentions that the nature energy is actually in the atmosphere and terrain, so it is in the air.
Yeah. So it is, but like I don't know if Naruto absorbing it has to do with him physically connecting to the ground or not.
No,
considering connecting to nature, it's described with like the heartbeat and the breathing, but that's more with the merging. I forget what they exactly describe with the rest of it.
They had to synchronize their breathing. Remember that?
Yeah, that's what the merging.
I was saying,
but before
I was
that,
saying that because it was to say that he wasn't doing it because he was connected to the ground. He was doing it because he was gathering the nature energy from the atmosphere.
Yeah.
So that sounds good. That then he can do it while he's running. He just has to be able to have that level of skill to do so.
No, he needs to. No, he needs to stay still. The whole thing is he needs to stay still.
Well, you definitely.
I know what you're.
I'm trying to find when they talk about it.
Yeah, I know for the original idea, what they said is that he needs to stay still to be able to focus and gather in the energy without it overwhelming him. What we were talking about was hypotheticals that he could learn to gather the energy also while moving. If he doesn't need to physically touch the ground, if he can do it through the air, then the issue is only about his ability to control the amount of nature energy he's pulling in and be able to focus as that as a skill. He can't do that while also moving because it's just too jarring and he doesn't have that level of concentration. But that's simply an issue of learning how to do so and training to do so. So in theory, he should be able to do so with enough training to be able to have that level of control.
I agree.
Well, again, I think the whole reason Fukusaku brought up the looking to your left and looking to your right at the same time example is to show that it is actually possible to do it. You can't. It's not just a matter of like,
that's impossible for him, even as a Toad Sage, to do because he has to do it differently. That doesn't mean it's impossible for Naruto to do it another way.
Again, this is a training that's never even been attempted because no one's ever even thought of it before in the first place. So you obviously shouldn't know whether it's impossible or not. Also,
they all just merge because it's the easy solution.
Yeah, he could just not know. He could just think it is.
Yeah. And for him, nobody's ever done it. He can consider it impossible, but that doesn't mean that it is.
Yeah.
I mean, ideally, recreating a Biju bomb by a person is impossible until the 4th Hokage did it. Adding chakra nature to it was impossible until Naruto suddenly could do all of it because he had all the chakra natures. Anything is impossible until you actually accomplish it in most cases.
Exactly.
I mean, the thing with the Biju bomb example, I mean, it wasn't possible. He needed to have rotation.
Tsunade said it was impossible for Naruto to master the Rasengan in a week.
He didn't master it.
He did, though. They say he did.
No, he didn't.
They say he did.
I mean, from that point
They're
forward,
wrong.
did you ever struggle with it again?
They're wrong. He didn't master it.
Okay. Then Pa is wrong.
In that case.
No, Pa, no.
There you go.
Yeah, so I found it finally.
Okay.
What Pa says is to gather nature energy whose principle is stillness while running it's like looking to the left and right at the same time. Now I'll go look for when he's
Exactly.
explaining Sage Mode to see what he says back on that.
Yeah.
Where's that from? Where's that from?
Chapter 427.
So the
Okay,
key
thank you.
word there being principle,
Mhm.
of which is
Define principle.
defined
Well, I mean,
as-
principle being stillness would be important, but now I gotta go back to see when he's first explaining it. What does he say, word for word?
Yeah. A fundamental truth or proposition that serves as the foundation for a system of belief or behavior for a chain of reasoning. It could also be the second definition here. A general scientific theorem or law that has numerous
Okay.
special applications across a wide field.
Scientific theorem's not
yummy.
helping your case there, but
Well, it's only a theory.
Oh my
And
god, no.
But it
There are
also
things-
is special applications across a wide field. Yeah, so there you go.
Were you getting on my ass for being semantic with you?
Potatoes.
What I would say though for scientific theory is that stillness is the way that he knows to draw in nature energy because that's the way they've always done it. But if you can draw it in also while you're moving, and the issue is you have to be able to try to control stillness while moving. In principle, that's just two conflicting
They're
ideas.
contradictory.
But with that, that's not the only time contradictory things have been done, because the Rasengan itself is literally chakra energy that you're compressing while trying to make
But
it
that's not
rotate out.
contradictory.
Allow me to finish. It's compressing chakra energy that you're trying to make rotate at a high extreme frequency, which by its very nature, when you make something rotate, its centrifugal force forces it away. So you're doing two opposite things at once and balancing that, which is how you're able to condense such dense chakra in the first place. The same theory
That's
would
not
apply.
true. That's not true, actually. Because, for example, you have things like neutron stars, which
Mhm.
get denser as they spin faster, as they form from red giants or red supergiant stars, for example. And yeah, getting denser and pulling in while spinning faster is like very much a thing.
Correct. It can be a thing for a neutron star. Are we saying the
It's a thing,
Rasengan?
even if you like, for example, even okay, so like if you've ever watched like Kurzgesagt, they explain it with like a ballerina spinning, they'll tuck their arms in to spin faster. Like it's a
I
general principle that in order to spin faster, you compress. Like that's like the thing.
as someone who's actually also directing a theatrical show and does theater and dance, I'm fully aware of how that works. It's the same theory with figure skaters. It's not that
Yes.
filling your arms in, the reason why you do that is because it has less resistance, which allows you to be able to be closer to your center. But it also makes
Yes.
it much easier for you to fall over because you're being pulled apart. If you're not perfectly balanced, if you're tilted off on your axis, you're going to go flying out at an angle because you're spinning and rotating so fast. Anything off your center makes you then fall out of that spin. Same way for a
Yeah.
ballerina in a twirl or a
Yes.
figure skater doing any of their pirouettes.
Yeah.
That's so
But
cool.
the idea is like by drawing in your mass closer to the center, you increase the speed of rotation.
The reason why that works is because, much like with the Rasengan, if you're spinning, for example, using an ice skater, when they pull their arms in, they're using a contrasting force instead of pulling their arms out. Because if you spin around, your arms want to flail out. Pulling them in is allowing them to basically hold that centrifugal force that they're trying to release until it dies out slowly because they have nowhere to let that energy go and they're able to hold on stronger than the energy trying to pull them outward. It's the difference if you see a professional skater versus, say, a young child trying to learn how to skate. A young child, when they first try to do the spin, often will flail out because they don't know how much energy they need to use to match how quickly they might end up spinning and trying to stop themselves from flailing out.
Naruto kind of is like a young child in this example.
Yeah.
No, I found what
So,
Fukasaku says. This is the closest thing we're gonna have. We animals
well,
can only
before we
appreciate
get
and
to that,
sense nature. Okay.
before we get to that, I just want to say what I was trying to say is that it isn't impossible. It isn't a contradiction. Like the Rasengan is not an example of a contradiction
I think it would
because
be
of the
based on what Ace was saying, but I have two different
I
contradictions for you then, or I guess where a middle ground, so I'm curious where it would go for you. So can
okay.
Naruto absorb nature energy if he's standing still on a very long treadmill? That's on, obviously.
I I I don't know.
Okay, I guess an in-series example, could Naruto absorb nature energy if he's inside of the coffin from the Sasuke retrieval arc as Jugo's carrying it across Land
Or
5?
if he's just like on size Inkbird.
Presumably,
Yeah, or
yes.
like if like a guy is given a piggyback ride.
Actually, no. If he's being moved, rather, then no, I don't think so. Because the principle is stillness.
Okay. So then, second example, what if Naruto is still, but the ground is moving with him? So, example, he's on like an exercise bike. You know, like one of those
Well
bikes that
then,
like stay still.
yeah, well then his core isn't moving, so just his legs are moving. So I think that he would be able to gather nature energy while doing that. I think it's probably about the core.
Interesting. Okay. So, okay, then do you think Naruto could absorb nature energy if he's running on a treadmill, staying his core in like the same proximity?
Um, no, but for a different reason, which is that it's too hard to focus on both, on collecting the nature energy and while uh um and running at the same time,
What if
and
Naruto
mixing it.
was sliding with his chakra feet on water? Could he gather it at that time?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Um, so I guess to Kamui's thing here, and if he wants to put this in chat.
Sorry, my mouthful is kind of hard for me to eat still. Wisdom teeth. But
Okay.
I do think something to consider. And it's not addressed in series. We just don't know.
Mhm.
Was Naruto using the toad oil in the scene of him running? That scene. The reason why I'm saying that, because what Fukasaku says here, he's saying this definitively. We animals can only appreciate and sense nature energy. This is the important part. It's saying that we can only sense nature energy if we do this. The this being stop our own movements and synchronize ourselves with the flow of nature. So essentially, we can only sense nature energy if we synchronize with the flow of nature. And the way to do that is to stop our own movements. The only way, according to him. However, we do know that toad oil attracts nature energy. If Naruto in the scene we got was using the toad oil at the time, it's like a starting point, then in theory he could still gather nature energy because of the toad oil. But that wouldn't apply to regular mode, but Naruto would be trying that first as the baby step, the same way he tried stage mode. If he used the toad oil, that can keep it all consistent. If he didn't use the toad oil, then Fukasaku is just wrong. It's not the only way, because Naruto literally did it.
Yeah.
So it depends.
Where's that panel from?
Chapter 410.
410.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, and I wasn't watching the episodes much at the time, it was just on TV. When Naruto gets a toad oil, doesn't it just splash on his hand and only his hand transforms?
The first time, yeah.
And then every other time
Actually, hold on, let me double check.
Okay, because every other time I'm pretty sure he's like literally underneath the toad oil waterfall, so it's like splashing on his whole body when he's doing it. Because if that's the case, then I would lean towards no, he doesn't have it on, since it's just like his face that's like contorting at that time. There's arguments obviously for and against it. The argument for him having the toad oil on at the time is that it's a new process, like you said. The argument against it is that Fukasaku said, in time, you won't even need
Oh no,
toad oil.
Naruto's face was getting messed up too, not just his hand.
During the first toad oil scene?
Yeah, I'll show you.
Okay.
I would consider, I mean, his hand more so, for sure, but I would consider this like a change to his face.
Sure. I mean, at the very least, his hand wasn't changing. That's funny, yeah. His hand wasn't changing in the running scene. So there's that. I'll also add, Kamui, this is a terrible, disingenuous argument for me to make, but Fukasaku does say that the red pigment around the eyes is not one of the toad features, as well as the square pupil thing, apparently, isn't a single toad feature on Naruto when he's in Sage Mode. He doesn't have a single one!
Yeah, but, so, you're gonna laugh at this, being the thing I'm pointing to.
His mouth.
But, his mouth, yeah. the our left, his right.
Okay.
That extension part, that's a toad feature.
I'll give it to you. That's funny. But by the way, why would Fukasaku say that? And why would Kishimoto be so obviously blatantly wrong by saying that? Obviously, he wanted Naruto to surpass Jiraiya by having perfect Sage Mode, but like, even ignoring the red pigmentation, fine. It's evidence, it's proof that he is a master of Sage Mode, or whatever he says. The eyes are just not.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but at the same time, that's what makes it look like he's in Sage Mode, so we can see it. And it's also what makes it cool.
Yeah, I know, that's the thing. It's Kishimoto wanted his cake and to eat it too.
Yeah. Because technically, a perfect sage should just look normal.
Yeah, exactly. I guess outside of the...
I mean, Hashirama's the closest to getting that right. He has markings, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm going to count
but
that.
But he doesn't have, like, toad eyes or anything.
Exactly. So I'm just going to count that as the pigmentation. And Naruto's, like, close to a perfect sage.
And let's also not forget, though, the only stated perfect sage is